With over 500 million followers today, it stands as the world's fourth largest religion, a profound faith or philosophy that seeks nothing less than to overcome suffering and achieve a state of ultimate inner peace and boundless wisdom. A state we call nirvana. But how did this ancient tradition begin? What radical insights transformed a prince into a spiritual luminary whose teachings continue to resonate across continents and cultures, shaping billions of lives, whether they consciously follow it or not? Today, we embark on an illuminating journey into the heart of Buddhism, its origins, its core philosophies, its astonishing global spread, and its enduring relevance in our modern world. We'll trace the footsteps of Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha, whose profound awakening 2,500 years ago in India ignited a revolution of the mind. This isn't just a historical overview, it's a deep dive into the essence of a tradition that challenges our assumptions about life, suffering, and the true source of happiness. Prepare to discover the universal appeal of a path that teaches self-reliance, compassion, and the transformative power of wisdom, culminating in the profound simplicity of the Buddha's final, liberating message: be your own light. Chapter 1. The Prince, the Prophecy, and the Path of Disillusionment. The story of Buddhism, and its founder, begins with the extraordinary life of Siddhartha Gautama. He was born into a Hindu royal family, a family of immense wealth and privilege, in the 5th century BCE in what is present-day Nepal. Historical accounts generally place his birth in Lumbini, a serene garden, though some specific details of his early life remain intertwined with legend. Ancient prophecies foretold that this child would be no ordinary king. He would either become a Chakravartin, a universal ruler, or a fully enlightened Buddha. His father, King Suddhodana, desperate for a powerful heir, meticulously shielded Siddhartha from all forms of suffering. The young prince lived a life of unimaginable ease, surrounded by every luxury, entertainment, and pleasure money could buy. He was never allowed to witness the harsh realities of aging, illness, or death. The king believed that by insulating him from sorrow, Siddhartha would never feel the urge to renounce worldly life. Yet, despite his easy life, a profound sense of dissatisfaction and restlessness began to stir within Siddhartha. He had everything one could possibly want, yet he felt an inexplicable emptiness, a gnawing question about the true meaning of existence. His soul yearned for a deeper truth beyond material pleasure. At the age of 29, driven by this internal quest, Siddhartha secretly ventured outside the palace walls, an act that would shatter his illusions. He encountered what are known as the four sights: an old man, a sick man, a corpse, and finally, a serene ascetic monk. These encounters profoundly moved him. His charioteer explained that aging, illness, and death were the universal truths of life, inescapable for all beings. Overwhelmed by these sorrows, Siddhartha realized that all the luxury of his palace could not prevent suffering. The sight of the peaceful ascetic, however, offered a glimpse of a different path, a way to transcend worldly pain. This profound realization that suffering, dukkha, is an inescapable part of this world, inherent in its impermanence, anicca, led Siddhartha to reject his materialistic upbringing. He decided to give up his lavish lifestyle, his family, and his royal destiny, and set out on a quest to attain spiritual enlightenment, seeking to understand how to put an end to suffering for himself and for all beings. This courageous act is known as the Great Renunciation, Mahabaniskramana, Buddhist insight. This foundational narrative highlights the core of Buddhist philosophy. Siddhartha's privileged life illustrates dukkha as inherent unsatisfactoriness, sankhara dukkha, even in pleasure. The four sights are the catalysts for his awakening to the universal nature of suffering, dukkha dukkha, the parinama dukkha, and anicca, impermanence. His renunciation is an act of nekkhamma driven by karuna, compassion, setting him on the path of right intention, samma sankappa. Chapter 2. The Middle Way, the Path to Awakening, and the First Sermon. In the beginning of his quest, Siddhartha embarked on a path of extreme asceticism. He wandered his region for 6 years, visiting villages, talking to people, and learning from other monks and sages. He met ascetics in the woods who practiced abstaining from material pleasures, food, comfort, even rest. Their lifestyle presented a sharp contrast to his royal upbringing. He observed that these monks looked peaceful and satisfied, even though they owned no possessions and had little food. This gave Siddhartha an idea. If pursuing material pleasure doesn't work, then maybe avoiding all material pleasure was the true path to enlightenment. So he took a vow of asceticism, pushing his body to the brink of starvation, enduring extreme physical hardships. However, after 6 grueling years, this feeling of dissatisfaction, this subtle dukkha, again found its way into Siddhartha's life. He realized that this extreme path of self-mortification, Atthakilamathanu was only the opposite extreme of his life in the palace, Kamasukhalakanu. Neither extreme brought genuine liberation. So, when a poor village woman offered him a bowl of rice and milk, he took it, acknowledging the need to nourish his body. This marked his decision to pursue a middle way, Majjhima Patipada, a life lived between the two extremes, without excessive social indulgence, but also without debilitating deprivation. This balanced approach recognized the body as a vehicle for spiritual practice, not an enemy to be tormented. After accepting nourishment and regaining strength, Siddhartha wandered until he found a serene spot. He sat beneath a bodhi tree, a pipal tree, and meditated for 49 days and nights, vowing not to rise until he found the answer to human suffering. On the 49th night, as he teetered on the very edge of enlightenment, he faced Mara, the lord of illusion and desire, symbolizing his own inner defilements. Mara tempted him with beautiful maidens, desire, and attacked him with armies of demons, fear and hatred. But Siddhartha did not join them. He calmly touched the earth as his witness, displaying his unwavering solidity in meditation and rejecting Mara's illusions. As the sun rose on the 49th day, the man who had been a prince opened his eyes, not as Siddhartha Gautama, but as the Buddha, the awakened one. He awoke from the illusionary dream of the physical world, its fleeting pleasures and its inevitable sadness. He had his great revelation. The answer to the quest of suffering lay in the Four Noble Truths. Buddhist insight. This section covers Siddhartha's exploration of extremes and the discovery of the middle path. A central tenet of Buddhism, his mastery of meditation, confrontation with Mara, representing kleshas, and ultimate enlightenment exemplify samadhi, right concentration, and vipassana, insight. The Four Noble Truths, dukkha, samudaya, nirodha, magga, are the core of his teaching. The victory over Mara symbolizes the conquering of tanha, craving, dosa, hatred, and moha, ignorance. Chapter 3. The Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path, a blueprint for liberation. Having awakened from the illusion, the Buddha, meaning the awakened one, spent the rest of his life teaching others how to reach the state of nirvana, where all suffering ceases. His great revelation, the answer to the quest of suffering, was encapsulated in the Four Noble Truths. The first noble truth, dukkha, existence is suffering. The Buddha taught that all existence is suffering. Humanity is caught in a cycle of birth, mundane life, and death, samsara, meaning an endless cycle of suffering. To live is to experience sickness, pain, and death. Even a comfortable life is an illusion, as every joy eventually begets sadness when it ends. And every moment of happiness is also a moment of sorrow, since we know that happiness is fleeting. The world is always moving, and everything is transitory. Personal insight. This isn't pessimistic, it's realistic. Acknowledging that suffering exists in all experiences, even pleasure, because it's impermanent, is the first step to truly understanding reality. It's like admitting you have a problem before you can solve it. The second noble truth, samudaya, the cause of suffering is desire, craving. The ultimate cause of suffering is desire, tanha. We suffer because we desire things, desire to gain them, to hold on to them, to mourn them when they are gone. It is the nature of the world for things to come and go, and it is our own tendency to cling to them that makes us suffer. Desire, the Buddha taught, is an unquenchable thirst, constantly pushing us to seek satisfaction externally, leading to endless dissatisfaction. Personal insight. This is profound. Think about when you desperately wanted a new phone. You might have suffered until you got it, but once you had it, did that happiness last forever? Or did you soon want the next model? Or fear losing this one? The suffering wasn't the phone, it was the clinging and the craving. The third noble truth, nirodha, the cessation of suffering is the cessation of desire, to end suffering. You must end desire, or more precisely, end clinging to desire. When desires are blown out, like a candle flame, one can experience nirvana. This state of peace is where the mind no longer races, and one is truly free from worldly concerns. Personal insight. This offers immense hope. It suggests we aren't doomed to suffer. By letting go of the desperate grip of craving, we don't become emotionless, we become free to experience life as it is, without the added layer of self-inflicted pain. The fourth noble truth. Magga, the path to the cessation of suffering, is the Eightfold Path. The way to cease desire and end suffering is to follow the Eightfold Path, which is also referred to as the Wheel of Dharma. This collection of ideas, taught by the Buddha, is a practical blueprint for ethical conduct, mental discipline, and wisdom, leading to liberation. Personal insight. This is the how-to guide. It makes the abstract practical. It's not about being passive, it's about actively sculpting your mind and actions towards freedom. The Buddha famously rejected hedonism, the pursuit of extreme pleasure, because he realized that clinging to your desire for more pleasure would result in never being satisfied enough, ultimately leading to suffering. He also rejected strict asceticism, extreme deprivation, because clinging to your desire to avoid pleasure would result in the same outcome, still a form of desire, still a source of suffering. The path between these two extremes is what the Buddha called the middle way. The Buddha understood that you can't truly extinguish desire in a forceful way. Desire is part of the human condition. Often, desire is what pushes us to form relationships, pursue new hobbies, and explore different ideas, and those desires can lead to positive outcomes. So, our desires aren't what's causing our suffering, it's clinging to our desires, or clinging to a specific desired outcome, that causes suffering. The Eightfold Path. Navigating the middle way. The Eightfold Path can be broken down into three main groups. Moral behavior, sila, right speech, samma vacca, speaking truthfully, kindly, constructively, and meaningfully. Right action, samma kammanta, acting ethically, not harming living things, not stealing, not engaging in sexual misconduct. Right livelihood, samma ajiva, earning a living in a way that doesn't cause harm to others. Self-discipline, samadhi. Right effort, samma vayama, striving to abandon unwholesome states and cultivate wholesome ones. Right mindfulness, samma sati, being fully aware of the present moment, observing thoughts and sensations without judgment. Right concentration, samma samadhi, developing deep meditative absorption, focusing the mind. Wisdom, prajna. Right understanding, samma ditthi, understanding the Four Noble Truths and the nature of reality. Right thought, samma sankappa, cultivating intentions of renunciation, goodwill, and harmlessness. Buddhists live by 5 fundamental moral precepts. They are against the killing of living things, ahimsa, abusing drugs and alcohol, stealing, sexual misconduct, and lying. These moral principles are considered necessary to achieve happiness in this world, without being connected to rewards or punishments in any other world. Followers of Buddhism generally don't acknowledge a supreme god or deity in the traditional sense. Instead, they focus on this proven path to achieve nirvana through their own efforts. Widely observed practices include meditation, observance of moral precepts, monasticism, taking refuge in the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha, and the cultivation of virtues. Buddhist insight. This comprehensive section details the core doctrinal framework of Buddhism. The Four Noble Truths are the diagnostic framework for suffering and its cessation. Tanha, craving, is the root cause. The Eightfold Path is the practical methodology, divided into sila, ethics, samadhi, concentration, and prajna, wisdom. The rejection of hedonism and asceticism and the embrace of the middle way are key. The role of nirvana as the ultimate goal, cessation of desire, is explained. The 5 precepts are presented as the ethical foundation. The focus on personal effort rather than a supreme deity highlights the self-reliant nature of the Buddhist path. Chapter 4. The Unseen Influence, Buddhism's Global Tapestry. Buddhism, born in Magadha and Kosala, proceeded to spread throughout much of India in the Buddha's lifetime and beyond. By the 3rd century BCE, It had gained the favor of the mighty Mauryan emperor, Ashoka the Great. Ashoka, after a profound transformation, designated Buddhism as the de facto state religion of India. His immense support led to the widespread construction of temples, stupas, and pillars inscribed with Dhamma edicts, actively spreading the message of peace and righteousness across his vast empire and beyond, turning Buddhism into a world religion. During the 5 centuries between the fall of the Mauryan dynasty and the rise of the Gupta dynasty, Buddhism continued its expansion. It entered Han China via the bustling silk trade routes, blending subtly with a foundational Chinese philosophy called Taoism and gradually becoming assimilated into Chinese culture, giving rise to unique forms like Zen, Chan Buddhism. During this time, Mahayana, one of the 2 prominent sects of Buddhism, the other being Theravada, became the most popular sect in India, offering a path for all beings, the Bodhisattva ideal. However, the 6th century saw the invasion of India by the Huns, a pre-Mongolic people, whose destructive campaigns led to the destruction of hundreds of Buddhist monasteries, severely impacting the religion's infrastructure in India. Not long after the Huns were driven out, Islam began to spread rapidly in the region, bringing a different religious and cultural force that, in many places, pushed Buddhism into the background. With the collapse of the Pala dynasty in the 12th century, due to substantial Muslim invasions and other socio-political factors, Buddhism in India began its final slow decline, losing its dominant position. Although Islam and a revitalized Hinduism became the major religions of India, Buddhism did remain influential in areas such as northeast India, and significantly flourished in countries like Thailand, Tibet, and other Southeast Asian nations, where it continued to be the dominant spiritual force. In Tibet, Buddhism, specifically Tibetan Buddhism, a form of Mahayana, is still the most popular philosophy. Its leading monk, the Dalai Lama, has traditionally been the political governor of Tibet until the Chinese took control in 1959. Today, China, followed by Thailand, boasts the largest populations of Buddhists in the world, a testament to the religion's enduring legacy. More recently, the religion was introduced into the West by large numbers of immigrants from China and other Southeastern Asian countries. Its influence is rapidly growing there, extending throughout the world. Buddhism's flexible, adaptable tradition has allowed it to alter and fuse with every culture it encounters, meaning that its practice often changes significantly as it radiates out from its Indian core. In fact, images of the Buddha himself have transformed culturally. The Buddha of India can look quite different from that of Japan or China, reflecting local artistic and cultural sensibilities. Despite its vast global reach and historical impact, Buddhism is often misunderstood, partly because in its history, it has been many things: a flexible tradition, a philosophy, a religion, and a way of life. Once you start looking, you can see its profound influence all around us. From inspiring some of our favorite sci-fi franchises, think about themes of inner peace and mind control, to developing martial arts that millions practice, to being at the very center of meditation apps that you might use to fall asleep or reduce stress. It's a tradition whose concepts and philosophies have subtly influenced billions, whether or not they formally subscribe to it. Buddhist Insight. This chapter provides a historical overview of Buddhism's spread and its interaction with other cultures and political powers. Ashoka's role as patron and missionary is crucial for its global expansion. The blending with Taoism and the rise of Mahayana highlight Buddhism's adaptability. The decline in India due to various factors, Huns, Islam, revitalized Hinduism, illustrates that even profound truths are subject to anicca, impermanence, in their external manifestation. The enduring presence in Tibet, Thailand, and other Asian countries, and its recent growth in the West, demonstrates its resilience and universal appeal, reflecting its non-dogmatic nature and emphasis on personal experience. Conclusion. Be your own light, the enduring call to awakening. Visual. A final, serene image of the Buddha, perhaps sitting under the Bodhi tree, radiating light. Text overlay of his last words. Be your own light. Do not look for the light in another. Light your own way in the dark. The Buddha story logo appears, shining brightly. The incredible journey of Siddhartha Gautama, his radical insights, and the profound wisdom he unveiled, culminate in a timeless, empowering message for all of humanity. The original idea behind what the Buddha taught may be summed up in the long-existent rumor of what he said on his deathbed, a final, distilled truth that cuts through all complexity and points directly to our inherent potential. Be your own light. Do not look for the light in another. Light your own way in the dark. These weren't just the parting words of a dying teacher, they were the essence of his entire philosophy. A final, profound reminder of the core truths he had spent his life illuminating. It's a call to profound self-reliance, recognizing that the power of awakening resides not in external deities, gurus, or scriptures alone, but within your own consciousness. Key learnings for your personal Buddha story. Self-reliance and inner wisdom. The Buddha's final words emphasize that true liberation comes from within, through your own effort and understanding, not from external salvation. Application. Take responsibility for your own well-being and spiritual growth. Trust your inner wisdom and intuition. Engage in practices that cultivate self-awareness and self-mastery. Transcendence of suffering. Buddhism offers a proven path to overcome suffering, dukkha, by understanding its cause, tanha, craving, and applying the practical methods of the Eightfold Path. Application. Identify sources of suffering in your life. Examine the cravings or attachments that fuel them. Practice mindfulness and detachment to reduce their power. The middle way in all things, a life of balance, avoiding extremes of indulgence or deprivation, leads to greater clarity and peace. Application. Seek moderation in your habits, your pursuits, and your reactions. Find the equilibrium that supports your well-being. Embrace impermanence, anicca, understanding that all things are fleeting, even the Buddha's physical form, liberates you from clinging and the suffering it causes. Application. Practice acceptance of change. Learn to hold experiences, relationships, and possessions lightly, appreciating them in the present without fear of their inevitable end. The living Dhamma. Buddhism is not just an ancient religion, it's a dynamic, adaptable philosophy and practice that continues to evolve and resonate in modern contexts. From mindfulness apps to martial arts. Application. Explore the teachings actively. Don't treat them as static dogma. See how Buddhist principles apply to your daily life, your career, your relationships, and your mental well-being. The Buddha's enduring legacy is a powerful testament to human potential. His life and teachings invite each of us to embark on our own journey of awakening, to find our own inner light, and to walk a path of profound peace, compassion, and boundless freedom. Your life is your most precious Buddha story. Thank you for watching, and may you always carry the profound peace and illuminating wisdom of these stories within your heart. Join our growing community by liking this video and subscribing to Buddha Story, where ancient wisdom beautifully meets modern mindfulness. What does being your own light mean to you in your daily life? Share your reflections and experiences in the comments below. Until our next encounter, may your path be filled with profound peace, deep understanding, and the radiant light of your own awakening.